The heavy door creaked open. A hush fell upon me, sudden and complete. There, in the center of the grand chamber, lay the polished wood of the casket. My breath caught, a sharp pain in my chest. Time itself seemed to stop, suspended. This was it, the final goodbye. My father waiting for me. I walked slowly, each step an effort. My legs felt like lead, heavy, unwilling. I reached his side. I looked down, his face so still, carved from ivory, his hands folded carefully on his chest. Cold. I knew they would be cold. I did not dare to touch them yet. The silence screamed louder than any sound. It was him, and yet not him. The spark, the fire in his eyes was gone. That vibrant energy, now just a memory. This was a shell, a beautiful empty vessel. The lines on his face seemed deeper, etched by worries I never fully knew. A stranger wearing my father's features. A painful, terrible recognition dawned. A wave crashed over me, hot, salty, grief, raw and untamed, clawed at my throat. I wanted to scream, to rage, to weep, but only a strangled sob escaped my lips. My knees threatened to buckle beneath me. This stillness, this absolute final stillness. It was a wall between us now. My father was truly gone. Outside, Buenos Aires baked relentlessly. The late summer sun beat down, fierce, unforgiving. Sticky heat rose from the pavements in waves. People fanned themselves, seeking shade, complaining. The air was thick, heavy with humidity and exhaust fumes. Life pulsed on, vibrant and loud, indifferent. The city, a sprawling beast, sighed in the heat. Another day under the Argentine sun. But inside the funeral parlor, winter reigned, an artificial cold, sharp, penetrating. The air conditioning hummed a mournful tune. It chilled the skin. It seeped into the bones, a stark contrast to the world outside. This room felt like a vault, sealed, silent, preserving sorrow in its icy grip, a manufactured calm against nature's fervor. Flowers were everywhere, white lilies, pale roses. Their scent, usually sweet, was cloying here, overpowering in the refrigerated air. A funereal perfume, heavy, oppressive, each bloom a testament to a life ended. Their beauty felt almost cruel, a mockery, so much life surrounding so much death. A garden of sorrow in a frozen room. This unnatural cold mirrored my own. A chill had settled deep within my soul. The city's vibrant heat seemed a distant dream, a life I no longer felt part of. Here, in this frigid space, grief was king. The cold was a companion to my sorrow. It wrapped around me, a shroud of ice. The world outside could not touch me here. My brother Alejandro stood near the entrance. His shoulders were slumped, his face a mask of stone. But his eyes, they were red-rimmed, betraying him. He always tried to be the strong one. We were not close, not anymore. Years of unspoken resentments lay between us, a chasm of silence, now widened by death. He glanced at me, a fleeting, unreadable look. We stood apart, separated by more than just space. The air crackled with unspoken words, old hurts. His grief was his own, mine, a separate island. Would this loss bring us together, or push us further? I remembered our childhood, shared secrets, laughter. Now we were strangers bound by blood and by sorrow. The silence between us felt heavy, accusatory, a wall built brick by painful brick. Mama was a small, crumpled figure in black. She sat on a velvet chair, lost in her own world. Her fingers worried an old wooden rosary. Her lips moved silently, praying or just remembering. She looked so fragile, as if a breath could break her. The matriarch of our family, now so diminished. Her sorrow was a quiet, constant hum, a deep well of pain that threatened to consume her. Other relatives drifted through the room, aunts, uncles, cousins I barely knew. Their faces were etched with varying degrees of sadness, murmurs of condolence, soft, subdued. But I sensed something else too, undercurrents, whispers of judgment, pity, or just morbid curiosity. His life had been public, his downfall too. Their presence felt like a quiet scrutiny. Papa. His name once resonated in Buenos Aires. It was spoken with respect, with admiration, even awe. He was a man of influence, a pillar of the community. His handshake was his bond, his word, gold. He commanded attention without effort, a force of nature, charismatic, driven. People were drawn to his confidence, his vision. He was a true Porteño success story. He built his empire from humble beginnings, with sheer will, with audacious dreams, with tireless work. He saw opportunities where others saw none. His businesses flourished. His reputation grew. He was a creator, a builder of dreams. He provided for us, more than generously. Our home was filled with light, with security. He was the sun around which our family revolved. Our childhood years were bathed in a golden light, filled with laughter, with endless possibilities, with joy. Summer holidays by the sea, grand parties, the finest schools, every wish granted. We never doubted our place in the world, protected, cherished, adored by him. He was our hero, our invincible protector. Life felt like a beautiful, endless song. He seemed a titan then, unshakable, unbreakable, a lion of the city, proud, fearless, dominant. His energy was boundless, his laughter infectious. He taught us to stand tall, to face challenges, to believe in ourselves, as he believed in himself. He was the epitome of Argentine ambition, a man who had conquered his world, or so it had seemed for so long. Then slowly, subtly, shadows began to creep in, at first just whispers, rumors on the wind, talk of investments gone wrong, of partnerships soured. He dismissed them with a wave of his hand, but the lines of worry deepened on his brow. His confident laugh became less frequent, more forced. A subtle shift in the atmosphere around him. The bright light began to dim. A complex scam, they later called it, insidious, woven with threads of false friendship and greed. It entangled him slowly like a patient spider. He, who was so astute, so sharp in business, blinded by trust, or perhaps by his own pride. They preyed on his ambition, on his good name. A betrayal so cunning, so carefully planned. It chipped away at his foundations. He lost so much, not just money, though that was vast. His thriving businesses crumbled, one by one. His reputation, once so sterling, became tarnished. Friends, who had once flocked to him, disappeared. The phone stopped ringing. The invitations ceased. The silence of abandonment was deafening. The fire in his eyes began to fade, replaced by a weary, haunted look. Papa retreated into the shadows of our grand house, into himself, into a world of brooding silence. The proud lion became a recluse, hidden from view. Shame was a heavy cloak he wore constantly. He who had always held his head so high. We tried to reach him, to understand, to help, but he pushed us away. Lost in his own despair, the unraveling was painful and slow. After the earth had claimed him, we found them, tucked away in his old mahogany desk, papers, letters, ledgers filled with a desperate, spidery script, the full story of his ruin, spelled out in black and white, a narrative of calculated deceit, of cruel manipulation. Each page a fresh stab of pain, a revelation, the truth, more terrible than we had imagined. He had kept this secret inferno to himself. The betrayal ran so deep, it was sickening. Men he had called friends, business partners he trusted. They were the architects of his downfall, vultures. They had systematically stripped him of everything, his wealth, his dignity, his will to fight. Their names, once spoken with respect in our home, now tasted like ash in our mouths. Poison. How could they live with themselves? Such a torrent of emotions washed over us. Anger, fierce and hot for the injustice. Pain, sharp and profound for his suffering. A deep, aching sorrow for his lost honor. He, who valued his name above all else, to be brought so low by those he had once helped. The unfairness of it all was a bitter pill, a wound that would take long to heal. Why had he carried this immense burden alone? Did he seek to protect us from the ugly truth, or was it the shame? The proud man humbled, unable to admit the extent of his defeat. Perhaps a combination of both. We would never know. He had faced his demons in solitude. The silence he retreated into, it was his shield and his prison, a lonely, agonizing end. The funeral was not a grand affair, not like in his heyday. Many familiar faces were conspicuously absent. Those who had benefited from his generosity, those who had basked in his reflected glory. Perhaps they feared association with his disgrace. Or maybe they had simply forgotten him. The city's memory can be short and fickle. Their absence spoke volumes, a quiet condemnation. But those who did come, their presence was a balm. Their faces showed genuine sorrow, unfeigned respect. There were no pretenses here, no hollow gestures, just a quiet sharing of loss, a true mourning, a handful of his old loyal employees, tears in their eyes, a childhood friend, frail and leaning on a cane, a distant cousin who remembered his kindness. Their loyalty shone like a beacon in the gloom. Their quiet dignity filled the somber space. It was a testament to the man he once was, and perhaps to the man he remained beneath the ruin. They remembered his strength, his brilliance, his heart, not the broken man of his later years. Their respect was a shield against the whispers, a small circle of unwavering support. It meant more than 1,000 superficial mourners. In their eyes, his honor was not entirely extinguished, despite the financial ruin, despite the public disgrace. There was a core of integrity they still recognized. This is a truth we understand in Argentina. A man can lose everything, his fortune, his status, but honor, true honor, resides deeper. In the soul, it can be wounded, it can be scarred, but for some it can never be truly stolen. Suddenly, a sound pierced the quiet sorrow. The mournful cry of a bandoneon played softly. Someone had brought one, a traditional gesture. A sad, soulful tango began to fill the air. Its melancholic melody wrapped around us. The music of Buenos Aires, the music of our hearts. Complex rhythms, passionate, yet sorrowful. A perfect soundtrack for our collective grief. Papa had adored tango. It was in his blood. He would hum the classic tunes, lost in thought. Sometimes his feet would tap out the rhythm. Subtly, a wistful smile would play on his lips. He knew all the great poets of tango, the singers, Gardel, Piazzolla. Their music spoke to his spirit, of love, of loss, of betrayal, of life's drama. It was the language of his soul. I closed my eyes. I remembered dancing with him. When I was just a small girl, at family gatherings, his strong, capable hands guiding me gently, his laughter as I stumbled over his feet. He would swing me around, make me feel like a princess. Those were simpler times, happier times, before the shadows grew long, before the music faded. The memory was bittersweet, aching, precious. We did not dance that day, not in that solemn place. Our feet remained rooted to the cold floor. But the music, oh, the music danced for us. It spoke of everything we could not say, of passion spent, of dreams unfulfilled, of enduring memory. It was a lament and a tribute, a final serenade for the man who loved its embrace so dearly, a farewell in the notes he cherished. As the last notes of the tango faded away, Alejandro moved. He quietly came to my side. He placed his arm around my shoulders, tentatively, a simple gesture, yet it spoke volumes. Years of icy distance began to thaw, slowly, in that shared moment of loss, of vulnerability. We were not rivals, not strangers, just brother and sister, grieving for the father we had both loved. Mama looked up. She saw us standing together. A faint smile touched her lips. Through her veil of tears, her boys, reunited, even in this place of sorrow, a flicker of warmth in her tired eyes. Perhaps this was a small solace for her, a sign that not all was broken, not all was lost. The family, though fractured, could perhaps mend. A fragile hope bloomed in the midst of despair, in that cold, sterile funeral room, surrounded by grief, amidst the scent of wilting flowers and unspoken regrets. Something shifted, something important. We found each other again. The walls we had built between us crumbled. Papa's death, so tragic, so painful, had, in its own strange way, brought us back to what truly mattered, to the bonds of family, to the ties that bind, even through hardship. This, I realized, was Papa's true legacy. Not the empire he had built and lost, not the name that had shone brightly then dimmed, but this fragile, resilient love, the enduring connection between us, his children, his wife. This was the inheritance that could not be stolen or diminished by scandal or financial ruin. Love in its purest form, his last, most precious gift.